This week we finally get around to talking about that final Zelda trailer. There's some new Sega Genesis games added to the Switch Online service. We do a spotlight on A Link to the Past, and there is yet another rumor about Nintendo's next system. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all things Nintendo. So glad we are finally recording this episode after a lot of problems behind the scenes there, because we got a lot to talk about this week, and when we started having technical problems, I was like, no, I really wanted to do a podcast this week. So I'm glad it's happening. My name's Kevin. With me, as always, is Harrison and Sean. How are you guys?
Hey, Kevin. Good. Harrison, you know what you could call those moments? Those wow, that's fantastic moments.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, that was from the pre-show, guys, but you'll find out later on. Actually, they were pretty fantastic, though.
So awesome. Like I said, I think we get a lot to talk about this week. There's a lot of, some cool news items. We got a great spotlight, and we've got a Zelda trailer to talk about. So, I mean, we can quickly touch on, though, what we've been playing this week. I'll say still playing Pokemon Violet, still trying to complete that Pokedex. I only have like 150 left, and, I'm waiting to, finish the story. I'm on like the end of the story too. And I'm like, you know what? If I do the Pokedex first, my team's going to be super leveled up when I get to the end there. So that's my strategy. How about, Harrison?
I mostly played some MLB this week, as always, and, played a lot of the Spotlight game, but actually I'm not as far as I want to be. So I decided I'm going to, this is going to be the other game I play leading up to Tears of the Kingdom. And, and as I told you, Kevin, I'm, getting ready to go out of town pretty soon. So I got like a 4-hour flight and like a 1-hour train ride. So I'm thinking like, what offline game do I want to play for that period of time?
I usually love RPGs for something like that. Like, you know, it's a good time to grind when you're on like a travel time.
Right. Well, I intentionally, I have a Breath of the Wild save file with, there's like 10 extra dungeons, all of the divine beasts and all of the in-game DLC. And I intentionally kept that for right before Tears of the Kingdom came out. So I think that might be it. But that's like my usual plain one. But yeah, anyways, Sean, what are you playing?
I just been going full hog on the Spotlight game.
I mean, it's an addictive one.
It sucks me right back in, and we'll get into it more, but I think this is the most fun I've had playing it.
Awesome. What a random time for that to happen, though. The game's like 30 years old now, so.
Well, actually, Kevin, me too, but at the same time, like, this game came out when I was, like 2 years old. Actually, we need to keep this for the Spotlight portion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
Well, enough talk about Zelda. Let's talk about Zelda. So, exactly. There's a new Zelda trailer that we missed last week because it dropped the day after we recorded. So, you've probably heard every other Nintendo show you watch and listen to talk about this thing, and we'll be the last ones. Cause, it was right after our window. So, yeah, I'm super excited for the game now. The first thing I texted Sean about it was like, I said it finally, with this trailer and the gameplay footage, finally doesn't look like, it finally looks like its own game. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like just more Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so, I agree. I'm actually I've rewatched it a few times now, seen some other analyses, so now I'm kind of 100% on board. Like, that game's gonna dominate my existence when it releases.
Is it analyses or analysis? Is it analyses? I actually don't know.
I don't know either.
I actually don't know. Hey, guys, leave a comment down below. Is it what's the correct plural form? I don't know what leaving a comment down below means, but
well, Sean mentioned he watched a few people analyze it. I watched a few analysis things too, and like the thing that was funny, I always noticed the common threads, and the common thread I noticed was a lot of people saying like, "Oh, I'm surprised that this 3-minute trailer got me more excited than the 12 minutes of gameplay footage." And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what this was designed to do. Like the 12 minutes of gameplay footage was almost like a tech demo. This was a trailer. It was there to hype you up.
Well, it's definitely a hype trailer. I mean, we got Link coming in hot, just right in the very beginning, just right at the very beginning. And I noticed
there's a lot of skydiving in this trailer, like multiple points, because it starts with it. There's the part where he's going through like that laser grid, which like it's a Mission Impossible movie. Yeah, right. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Right, and again, like you guys, I've watched a lot of analysis of people way smarter than I am and way more like into the lore of all of this, but I did notice like, he passes by the light tower in the beginning. Which
it's funny how people see those landmarks, because I saw one where, the end of the trailer is Zelda saying, "Link, find me." And like within like an hour of the trailer being out, somebody used the landmarks that you can see behind Zelda to pinpoint exactly where she is on the map. And they're like, found her.
I wish I had that time, and I don't. But yeah, that was crazy that people are already like, there were parts in the trailer like, oh, that's Carico Village and this and that. I'm like, how can you tell?
Some people have a lot of time, and then some people are just, I mean, at least for me, way better at landmarks than I am. But I'm like, I'm a typical like, millennial. I can't find where anything is. like I need a mini map for everything.
She'd have to say, "Harrison, find me. Here's the address for your GPS."
Here's the point on your map.
Can I fast travel?
So, I mean, honestly, and I'll probably bring him up a couple times, but I mean, I really like Austin John's point about, he thinks that the reason why we got a Skyward Sword remake was because it's in some way connected, or in a lot of ways connected to this game.
I've seen a few connections being, I guess somewhere in the footage you could see there's the part in Skyward Sword where you charge the sword up, like that island in the sky, and that island is apparently in the game, or one that looks exactly like it. And like, I looked at the side-by-side comparison, and I'm willing to say it's the same one. So whether that's going to factor in or just be like when you could see Lon Lon Ranch in Breath of the Wild and it meant nothing, who knows? But it's definitely there.
Yeah, that was one of the things I saw a lot of the videos focus on is, hey, maybe this is the last one in the timeline, and it circles back to Skyward Sword being the first one.
No timeline.
I know, but that's what a lot of people were saying, and there's that one point in the trailer where I'm pretty sure it's Ganon, but everybody thinks it's Malice.
Demise.
Skyward Sword. Demise, sorry.
Demise, yeah.
I never played Skyward Sword. It's just kind of chilling on my Switch.
Yeah.
But do you guys see any stock in that or no?
Yep.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm notorious for saying that the Zelda timeline is an afterthought at best. So I think there's going to be a lot of references to Skyward Sword, but I also think like Breath of the Wild had references to like every Zelda game as well. So I don't know I don't know if it's going to be a direct tie-in or if it's going to be something where the stuff looks like it's in the background. But at the same time, I am kind of like, well, they're in the sky again, like, and Nintendo's not dumb. They know people are going to be drawing comparisons between the two games, especially with all the skydiving you're doing, which was a big part of Skyward Sword.
Right.
I mean, at your point, every time they show a horse in any of these games now, it's, that's Epona. It's not necessarily Epona, it's a horse.
You can name the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. I after seeing this trailer, I think, and I agree with you, Kevin, like, I don't see very much as far as, I think the timeline in Zelda is very fluid and they can kind of create and add on. But I did kind of think of the timeline a little bit in this trailer. I think it's more about Zelda and Link simply being in two other dimensions, and they're trying to find each other again. I think that's what's happening because we do see Zelda fall. We see her falling, and then we see
there's that desert thing,
right? And then we see her in the Zonia gear, like after that, and we see her. There's even a part where the Master Sword's behind her. Now this could be in the beginning, it could be in the middle, who knows? But I think, in my opinion, I think they're gonna start out together. They're gonna meet Ganondorf, and at some point, they're going to just lose each other and try to make their way back.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely seems like there's like a light world, dark world, or something happening, which, is something a lot of Zelda games have done, because you've got, let's see if we can make the list. So, first started in A Link to the Past, light world, dark world. You've got, the two time periods in Ocarina of Time. You've got the light and the shadow world in Twilight Princess.
A Link Between Worlds, that had two worlds.
Yeah, A Link, Hyrule, and yeah, that's Hyrule and Lorule. Yeah. I don't know if I said that one. But yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's others that I'm not realizing right now, but yeah, it's definitely something the series has done time and time again. So, and it works. It's like such a simple trick, but it's like, it's always so cool to be like, let me see the other version of this place,
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, Harrison, that I think Zelda is with the, I can never remember the name of the technology race, but Zonai?
Sorry, I said Zonia. It's Zonai, sorry.
Okay, Zonai, because I think that's who she's talking to, or who's talking to her in the trailer, and you don't see their face. So I think she's in the Zonai realm, wherever that is, and then Link's in Hyrule, and then I think obviously at some point those things are gonna mash together.
It looks like there's more platforming in this than most Zelda games too.
Yeah.
Like there's a part in the trailer where he's literally hopping platforms. And then you've got like the water ball part of the trailer.
He's jumping high.
Yeah.
He's jumping, and I watched and I was like, is that a power up? Because
I think the platforms, I was trying to see that too, and I think the platforms are doing it. Like they're like a digital trampoline or something.
It could be, but he does it from the beginning, and the first one's not a platform.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice the first one, because I noticed it like midway through.
So it could be, but that was one of my, so far we've brought up two of the WTF moments that I wrote down.
Let's hear that list. I'm excited. I want to hear it.
Oh, okay. So that one,
Harrison said it's WTF moments from the trailer.
we had like those those floating bubbles that Link was in, and there's something in the middle. It looks like a cell almost, right? And there's something in the middle of it.
Yeah, it looked like it seems related to that other shot of like a weird ball in the sky that we got in the other trailer. When I said it looked like a Death Star, and it looks like they might be somehow related to that.
Yeah. So I don't know what that is, but if that's some kind of platform, I'm really excited with all the physics and everything we're getting in this game. Just a lot of variety. In the beginning, we had a floating airship. I didn't know what that was about. So,
that was a cool one.
The Mission Impossible part we brought up. And that also, it looked like, so the paraglider is back in the game. That's confirmed because of the amiibos, but it looks like Link was in like a flying squirrel suit or something in that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Looks like he has wings.
Yeah. Saw some different kind of armor in that. Apparently the Zonai have a rocket. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw the rocket, and it also kind of reminded me of the rocket from Pikmin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. And it's just for like a second, I was like, what was that? I was like, did the Zonai have like some crazy technology that we're just gonna kind of discover along the way? Because actually that happens a lot with the one where Link shoots the arrow and the lasers or whatever shootout.
The first Zelda game with a space program.
Although
he did go to the moon in Majora's Mask, but yeah.
My last one of this segment was when Link was riding on that giant rock, and on the side there was some kind of weapon, and he's riding, and so he's riding on this giant rock, and I think he's riding it, and on the other way there's what's it called? But there's one part where he's on this giant stone that he's driving.
Yeah, and it had the little arm sticking out, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
It looked like he was about to joust with the bokoblins that were on the rock monster.
The rock monster, whatever I can't think of names this morning. But anyways, yeah.
I have to say too, I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I feel like that vehicle crafting that they're showcasing in that shot is the thing I'm least excited for. I don't think I'm really going to spend much time doing this. I want, all of the things they've shown me that it looks like exploration is going to be big, just like in Breath of the Wild. I think that's going to be where I put most of my time. I'm most excited for that ability where you shoot through the ceiling.
But Kevin, aren't you a completionist though, to a point? Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's different types of vehicles, I'll probably make them all.
Right. Because I was wondering, because we see a part where there's a carriage, there's a horse and carriage, and I wonder if that's going to be some kind of just side quest. I wonder if that's going to be some kind of thing where we have to, put the carriage together, and there's some kind of, I don't know, there's green stuff on it. I don't know what this is, but I wonder if we have to if there's going to be side quests where we have to build vehicles and traverse or send people somewhere. I could see a lot of that in the game.
It could be.
I'll probably change my mind when I start playing it, because there's a lot of stuff in Minecraft that I was I'm not going to bother with that. And then, a few hours later it was I had built 50 of them. So it's probably just something where when I start doing it, it'll, be more exciting. But right now I'm more about jumping around the Sky Islands. I don't really care about making vehicles.
Yeah.
So Harrison, this will be new to you, but Kevin knows this about me. The thing that got me the most excited in the trailer is how many giant monsters there are that look like you're gonna fight. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that made me happy. Like that
The
giant
three-headed dragon from the first Zelda game.
the like centipede monster, looked like there was like a land shark thing. Like all that
Those
stuff
have
was
got to
really
be boss
exciting.
battles, right?
I would think so.
Which means, like, I mean, there were technically bosses in Breath of the Wild and the Divine Beast, but they didn't feel like Zelda bosses, and those look more like a Zelda boss.
And that's part of what I'm more excited for this one is because it looks like they are able to take the traditional stuff we missed in Breath of the Wild and marry it together with the open world stuff they did.
I mean, the bosses in Breath of the Wild were still fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love the one that throws the ice blocks at you, and you freeze the blocks in time and like hit them back. Like, there's a lot of fun bosses. There's something about them that doesn't feel Zelda boss.
I think Ganondorf.
How you get to them?
What was that, Harrison?
Oh, sorry, Sean, you cut out on me. Sorry about that. I think Ganondorf really messed things up, whatever happens in the beginning, and then make some pretty crazy monsters in this, and bosses, because we just see a lot of the same monsters from before, but now they got crazy things on their head.
Yeah, I'm surprised how many things are coming back. Like, we saw that, like, dual combat kind of happening with, the fish guy that the internet loves who smiles.
Oh, yeah. It's cool that it looks like you're going to have companions now. Yeah, as far as returning enemies, I was excited and disappointed that the Lionels look like they're even more supercharged than they were.
Yeah, They are jacked.
Yeah. You see the part where like Link, like there's some of the same enemies, but they got these these things on their head. I don't know what it is. And Link's coming in, on the horse, and he's swinging the spear around his head.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Some kind of, we're seeing new armor and, some new weapons in here. And, I'm really excited about the enemies, bosses, and whatever happened to this world to kind of make it this way. I feel like this trailer is in the end going to answer a lot of questions that we really don't know, but at the same time is bringing up a lot more questions than I had originally. I feel like I actually know what the story is going to be. I have a pretty good idea, but I might be totally wrong. But even if I do, again, going back to is it Demise? Is it, did we see Hylia? Was that Hylia and Zelda together? Like, something's going on there. So I think we have just a great trailer, a great 3-minute trailer that I'm still thinking about.
What are
that
those?
underground part thing was awesome too.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what I'm like, ooh, I wonder how big this place is to explore underground.
Yeah, because I've said multiple times, like, one of my favorite Zelda things ever was in Twilight Princess, when you go in those, like, underground caves, and, like, all you had was your lantern to, like, light the way, and I was like, the series needs more of this. This feels, like, creepy and kind of scary, and yeah, that underground segment made me think of those right away. I was like, cool, I hope those are like that. What are the names of those, the enemies that are on the Sky Islands? Constructs, yeah. Those things remind me a lot of Twilight Princess too. Like, especially the design of the things Zant would wear, and and whatever the crown for Midna. Like, it reminds me a lot of that kind of aesthetic.
I like that the trailer, like, after you get Link just dive bombing at the beginning, just shows one of the constructs fighting a choo-choo.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's intentional too. It's like we're showing that the constructs are actually are they soldiers? Are some good, some bad?
Yeah.
So
I think the other thing that made me excited too is just seeing how much more populated Hyrule is.
yeah, it seems more populated, and I think the one part that I wrote down that I wasn't as happy about is that it still looks barren, but it makes sense given the story that we're going to get in Tears of the Kingdom. But I think there's going to be a lot more.
So what came off as barren to you? Because to me, it just feels like actually a more robust take on the Breath of the Wild Hyrule.
Just I mean we see like Hateno Village, and then we see like in the beginning we see some tents, like maybe they tried to, like, whatever happened, if this was like the calamity from long ago, they tried to restore things. But like long ago, like when this game was first announced, I was hoping that it was going to be more of like Hyrule from the past, where it was going to be things that were more put together. But that's not what this story is.
Okay.
So that's all. Like I was thinking that we were going to see more towns, more villages, more buildings, and I'm totally fine with this because I think this is going to be just a really cool story.
The only thing this trailer didn't well, I guess technically didn't show, I'm hoping there's some underwater element to it.
We haven't seen any water, and we've seen a lot of different biomes, even in this like 3 minutes.
I'm amazed that Breath of the Wild didn't have a fishing mechanic, and I wonder if this will have some sort of fishing thing going on. Like, it always disappointed me that you just throw bombs into the water, or
Kevin,
shoot them with an arrow.
Exactly. I love it because bombs are like my favorite part about Zelda. I think it's so cool. I think it's so cool that they give you bombs in Breath of the Wild like 10 minutes.
It'd be nice to have the option to do both, I think, though. Like, I honestly think if I could just take the time to relax and do some fishing, I totally would. And like maybe you could have like a Animal Crossing style like checklist of the different fish.
Oh yeah.
And you could catch them with the bombs or the fishing rod if you feel like it.
Yeah.
And then that could be like one of those internet challenges where people are like, complete the fishing notebook, no bombs. Like,
yeah, and I'm sure they taste better. Also, if you don't throw a bomb on them, I don't know if there's like radiation or I don't know.
Oh, but like we said before about how everybody plays different, I remember I posted that on Twitter once, and somebody replied that they had never thought to get the fish with the bombs before. And I'm like, oh, wow, because that's the first thing I did.
Yeah, and that's fair because...
Whenever Kevin boots up Zelda, he just starts throwing bombs everywhere.
That's fair because I'm sure there's things I've seen recently in Breath of the Wild, even recently, that I've thought, like, I had no idea you could do that.
Yeah.
And there's still those parts that I'm figuring out. You see, in the trailer, Link is in the throne room. So I wonder if restoring the throne room is going to be part of this new game. Or if
Link's
the throne
room
room
is
is
everything back together. The poor guy.
Or if it's like in the sky and they're gonna like put together and then like bring it down. I don't know. And then I guess the last part that I wrote down was that like we see Link with, apparently they're the descendants of the champions. Now I didn't know who they were watching the trailer, but that's apparently who they are. And I guess they're going to like we see like them fighting with Link during part of the trailer. And I think that's where the tears and Tears of the Kingdom is going to come up. I think.
Could be. We haven't seen, like, that's another connection to Skyward Sword, is they had what was it called? They had the thing where you had to collect the different tiers. And I don't remember what it was called, but, like, that's definitely a time the series has used that term before. So I wonder if anything like that's going to be involved.
Yeah, it could be like the Descendants, and like maybe Zelda has one.
They're going to be like the Infinity Stones, and Ganon's going to get them all.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen a lot of. I mean, I think the biggest fan theory I've seen the past like 2 days is that Ganondorf is going to be the hero.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's going to be the hero. I don't think that's true, but I do think there's something going on with the Demise character. I think there's validity towards that.
Yeah, people are always trying to, like, toss out, like, guess the twist, like, craziness. This is a random thought, but I was thinking of this the other day. Do you remember there was a time on the internet where every time a trailer came out, the theory was one of the characters is dead the whole movie? And like I remember specifically for Logan, when that trailer came out, people were like, "Oh, Charles Xavier's dead and Logan's talking to his ghost." And Last of Us 2, that trailer came out about that time, and people were like, "Oh, what's his name is dead and Ellie's talking to his ghost." And I don't know. It's a random thought. That was like a huge trend for a while. Right here, I guess it would be Zelda's dead and Link is talking to her ghost.
But Link doesn't talk.
It's true. He is not talking to her. Her ghost is talking to him.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a random rant that I just went on. It was just something I was thinking of.
No. I was trying to think of, because I'm not a movie person, but like haven't they been doing that in movies for forever? Like,
they have, but there was like I feel like there was a year, maybe even just a couple of months, but I was noticing, like, literally everything that dropped in that period, people thought that this is going to be the twist, and like every case it was wrong.
Yeah, I for some reason, like 2017, I don't know why, because it wasn't like a Shyamalan.
It wasn't like we had just gotten a movie like that or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, like there wasn't any indication of why people were like, "Oh, that's a ghost." I guess people just wanted to see someone talk to a ghost in 2017.
Yeah. The comment would always be like, "Calling it now. Joel is dead and Ellie is talking to her memory of him," like every single time. All right. Anyone have anything else to say about the Zelda trailer or ghosts? There were no ghosts in the Zelda trailer.
There could be, though. There might be Pose, and they didn't show them.
So I got a rumor and one kind of news. The other kind of news from this week is that new games were added to Switch Online Expansion Pass.
And they will not be randomly selected because the selector hates us.
Well, I added them to the selector, but who knows?
Well, then hope Kid Chameleon pops up.
Yeah, they were Sega Genesis games, Kid Chameleon, Pulse Man, Flicky, which I had never heard of before, which is weird because, like, that's like the era of games that...
Game.
What's that?
An arcade game.
Oh, it wasn't actually a Genesis game?
Well, I mean, it was on Genesis, but like, I think it was an arcade game.
Yeah, but anyway, my point is just like, that was like the era I was collecting back when I collected those games, and I'd never heard of that game. And Street Fighter II Special Champion Edition, Capcom was basically like, you can have the Sega version of Street Fighter II. Like, we're not putting the Super Nintendo one up, because it's better. So Sean, you said you're excited for Kid Chameleon. Is that like a game you've played before, or did you just like the way the trailer made it look?
That's a game I've never beaten, and everyone I knew who had a Sega had it. And I don't know, it's just a cool concept.
I've never played Pulse Man, but the trailer, that's the one in the trailer that looked like it's seizure inducing, right?
Yes!
Because I'm like, oh my
First
god,
thing,
this looks intense.
I'm like, no wonder this didn't get an American release, or at least I don't think it did.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if I can withstand Pulse Man and his seizure visuals.
Yeah, because I wasn't even sure if it was a platformer or what. I was just like, wow, that's a lot of flashing lights. Like, whoa.
Harrison, do you have any connection to these? I know you like Genesis.
I don't have any connection to any of these, no, but I would love if we get randomly selected a Genesis game.
We'll find out.
So we'll find out. Yeah. No connection there. I need to look these games up.
All right, so we can move on to the rumor this week, which I actually took a lot of notes on because I had some spare time at work and my mind started wandering. So, again, not a new rumor, but kind of with a new twist. Yet again, we're getting a rumor that there's going to be a Switch 2, or whatever Nintendo's next system is, reveal in June. So, Mike Odyssey, Nintendo YouTuber, claims to have a source that indicates this may be happening. And I think it's interesting that a June announcement would kind of line up with the other rumor about a November release, because that would be the same window the Switch had.
Really?
Huh. Yeah.
That's so fast.
It's 5 months.
Yeah, it's so fast. And again, I don't know. I don't know if it was because the Switch was coming after the Wii U. Oh man, it just seems so fast. Like this, like if we got a new Switch this year, does that mean we're getting Tears of the Kingdom on the new Switch? Because
that's an interesting point, is because they spent so much time with Breath of the Wild talking about how it would be on both the Wii U and the Switch. You'd think they'd be announcing this system by now to say that. So maybe it's not going to be on the new system. I didn't read this line here, that basically the end of the article is this rumor comes with the new twist that apparently the system's going to have a new Mario game. So there's that.
This would be.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't see them doing that yet. Because why would you reveal that the month after your biggest game for 2023? That doesn't make sense to me.
I have to say, I'm starting to flip on this issue. I don't know if I'm fully convinced yet, but here's the thing. So there's this thing that people have always brought up when the Switch 2 starts getting talked about. And at first I didn't put any stock in it, because the thing that they always say is like, oh, we don't know anything about fourth quarter 2023 yet. And when people started saying this, I was like, yeah, but that's like a year and a half away. I'm sure we'll know something by the time we get there. And then, it started to be people saying we don't know anything past Tears of the Kingdom. And then we got Pikmin 4, but whatever. Point is, it kept being like, oh yeah, that's like a year away. Oh, that's like 8 months away. And now we're literally to the point where Pikmin 4 is 3 months away and we don't know anything past it. That is starting to get really weird. It's not like it was before when these rumors would come up and I'd be like, yeah, but that's like a year away. I'm sure they'll announce something eventually.
Yep.
So that part's really starting to seem weird to me, is that in 3 months they're going to have the last game they announced, basically. I
think eventually we're going to have a rumor that's correct, because the Switch 2 has had nonstop rumors and eventually one's going to be valid or one's going to be correct. But I mean, I got to say, I think Nintendo has had kind of a rough week this week. This would be the most Nintendo thing ever for them to release their biggest game in years, and then weeks later be like, oh yeah, you know what? That game you just bought, it's going to be on the new system, and it's going to be the same price, and it's going to run way better. It's going to be upscaled. And you can't
upgrade like PlayStation does.
It's going to be the game that was supposed to be on this old system on the new system. I mean, that would be, I think I would be mad. I would be a little bit upset. I mean, I don't know if I would buy the game 2 times, but
no, I don't think I would.
Yeah, but, I just don't know anymore.
I had Twilight Princess on the GameCube because I couldn't get a Wii yet.
Yeah, I just think eventually we're going to be correct. But I was thinking like maybe next, like, is it always the holiday season? Do they ever release consoles in the summer? I mean,
the Switch was a spring release.
Yeah, I was going to say that was in
spring.
April. So
yeah,
or was it April? No, maybe it was March.
Well, I have to say I learned something when I was looking more into this, and apparently before we started our podcast, like right before, there was a previous news story about how Nintendo had secured a new manufacturing deal for something that could be a system, and that deal also starts this year, but they, got some kind of contract with a manufacturing company that was new for them. I know this would never happen, but I kind of wish Nintendo would make like a more traditional system this next time. This is the rabbit hole I was going down today, thinking of, like they always say they're trying to find new, innovative ways to play, and I just don't think that's necessary. Like, just give us a normal system, console that's like as powerful as everything else that's out this generation. Like, look at the hype people have for Tears of the Kingdom right now. We were just talking about. That's not because there's a weird gimmick behind the game. It's because it looks like a good game, Yeah. There's nothing in Tears of the Kingdom that we've seen so far that video games couldn't do 10 years ago. So you don't always need like a crazy gimmick involved. Same thing with like Mario Odyssey, one of the best 3D Marios. There's no weird like motion control or like any kind of virtual VR. There's no gimmick. It's just a great game. So, I don't know. I learned looking at this. Did you know the GameCube was more powerful than the PlayStation 2? I didn't know that. Apparently Nintendo hasn't always been the weakest console on the market. Because that's kind of their reputation, is to always have like a weaker one. But like maybe if they do drop a new system, I can hope maybe it's going to be something that's like current gen. Probably won't be, but that's the thing that I like to think about right now. Like, can we get something that competes? I mean, even the PlayStation 5 technology is 3 years old at this point. Can we get something on that level?
Yeah.
So you just want to go, here's a box, you plug it into the TV.
Here's a normal controller. I don't even want it to vibrate. No, I could do that.
Yeah, this current gen of systems I think is really interesting because it's over 2 years now that we're on this current gen, and to me it feels like they're just starting to get games like consistently.
Yes. Like PlayStation 5s are just starting to be in stock.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so I think it's interesting the conversation around this new generation of games. Like, I just got rid of my Series S, and like I know people have PS5s, but I knew people that like had like a PS5 and had like nothing to play for a little while. So I find it interesting when the technologies don't necessarily match up with each other.
And, it's been when did Mario Odyssey come out? It's been a few years. Maybe they've been tinkering with a new Mario game that they could drop on this thing. Who knows?
That was also 2017. That was the end of 2017.
There you go. So
2017 was just a banger, you know.
Give us a Mario game with like a PlayStation 5 Spider-Man level map. Like open world like Bowser's Fury was or something.
Yes. Give us Bowser's Fury just bigger. Yeah, exactly.
I would love it. I loved Bowser's Fury. Like I thought I 100%ed it and I was like, this was way too short. I could have used way more. I will say though, I think I understand it wasn't like a full game, so I know that's why they didn't do this, but I thought the map was a little too covered in water. Like there could have been more like, I understand you need like empty areas between the areas to kind of separate them, but there could have been some grass. There could have been some fields. And you could do that if you made it like a full game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's that. Is Nintendo making a new system? We'll find out in June if they're announcing it in June. That's everything I had about that, so we can go talk about the Spotlight now. A Link to the Past. More Zelda. This is a Zelda-heavy episode.
Is it pretty safe to say that everyone's number one is now Link to the Past?
No.
Yes. No.
Number two?
You put something above to the Past that we've played? Wow.
Oh, okay. So to be fair, we have played my favorite retro game of all time. Okay? We have played that, and again, it's hard for me to compare Super Mario Brothers 3 to this game. So I'll just add this part. This has been my most enjoyable experience playing one of these online games that I've had, mainly because I've played it a lot less than Super Mario Brothers 3. And also, I thought, playing on handheld was great, and it brought me back to when I played on handheld, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was saying at the beginning there that I think, so I've only completed the game twice, and this will be my third run. Yeah. But this is the most fun I've had with it because I haven't completed it yet, but I'm determined to not look anything up because every other time I've played it, I get to the ice temple in the Dark World and get stuck. And then have to look something up, and I'm determined not to do it. And so far, I've found like way more of the extra part pieces than I've ever gotten before. Like I'm finding the items, like the extra items and stuff. So I'm really enjoying exploring it and playing it almost like I'm playing it the first time to an extent. I mean, there are parts of the game obviously that are seared in my brain, but no, I'm having a blast playing through it, and I'm curious how long it's going to take because I don't know why it's taking me this long to remember, but you can see your individual playtime on all the online games, and I always forget you're able to do that.
It's actually kind of a short game.
It is.
Like, if you know what you're doing, you can do the entire game in something like, I think, 12 hours. I'm not that good, but it's basically like about like a 20-hour game at most. It's not that long.
Can I tell you?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, can I tell you some speedrunning stats?
Well, I know there's the trick where you can like warp directly to the end credits, the glitch one, where you can beat the game in something like 2 minutes.
Right. Well, the any percentage, the one where you can use glitches, it's 1 minute 36 seconds.
That was close. There you go.
Yeah. No glitch 1 hour 22. 100% no glitch is 1 hour 41. And the speedrunning community for this game is intense. Like, because you have like 100% no glitch, 100% glitch, 100% glitch, plus Ganondorf. I don't know. Like, there's a whole bunch of them on
Apparently,
there.
Have you ever done the glitch? Because it sounds like it's because a lot of times I hear about those things and I try them and I'm like, I can't even get it to work. Like I can't in Mario 64. the trick where you like jump down the stairs and get it to like suck him through the door, so you don't need the stars.
Right.
I can't get that to work. I've tried a million times, but I think I could get this glitch to work. I haven't tried, but I've seen it, and it seems pretty simple.
It seems pretty simple, and it seems like because the glitch speed run is from I think from 2018. So I think a lot of it is just the odds. Like it's like you have to do it just perfectly because if not, you'd have to like reset and try it again. Because I watched a couple people on YouTube do it, and it looks pretty crazy. And the part with like glitch speedruns that always trip me out, it's like when they're walking through the tiles, Link walks through some rooms that aren't used in the actual game. They're empty.
Yeah.
But there's like empty space between that and then Ganon, and then you walk right past Ganon to the ending credits. It's really funny. It's like Ganon's like, "Oh, I'm gonna destroy you," and then just nope.
Yeah, you just walk right past him. Because for those of you who don't know, what the glitch is you basically like send Link out of bounds, and then you're able to kind of just like flip through the screens, kind of like what are those things called where you look through and you click the 3D photos?
Viewfinder?
A viewfinder. It's kind of like that. You go through the different screens like a viewfinder, and you basically just walk to the end credits.
Right, and it works because this game, which is so innovative in this game, they use the upper and lower levels. So lots of the tiles have upper and lower tiles. So some very smart person figured out that you can just like warp through these tiles all the way to the end. This game is so glitch heavy. It's pretty crazy. Kevin, is this the most important Zelda game? And I'm sorry if you guys have talked about this topic before.
I'd say it absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue the first one, but I think without this game, the series doesn't look anything like it does now. Like, it could have gone in a lot of different directions from that first game, but this is the one that they all copied. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, because this is the one that kind of cemented the formula.
Right. And I was looking through, like, well, I wanted to tell you some lists as well. I was looking through, like, lists of people's rankings of Zelda games. So GameSpot had this one number 3, Nintendo Life number 4, Kotaku number 3. I also want to add they had Ocarina of Time number 5.
I'm honestly, and maybe I should save this for when Ocarina of Time comes up in the randomizer, but that game has fallen down my rankings over the years, and I don't know if it's because I've drained all of the nostalgia out of it by playing it so many times, but
yeah,
I don't think it would be in my top 3 Zelda games anymore.
It's not for me because just because I found that a lot of N64 games I've either have played too much of or just haven't held up the way I've wanted to, as far as the 3D games go. So yeah, totally. I also wanted to add too, Sports Illustrated ranked this game number 8, just in case you wanted to know, how Sports Illustrated feels about, Zelda games.
I appreciate that they were thinking of gamers at least.
Number 8, they had it on the list. They had it right above Skyward Sword. I think that's hilarious. Crazy. But also if Sports Illustrated wants to hire me as a gaming journalist, hey, no problem. I'll do it. But yeah, but on a lot of these lists, it's surprising how many of them put Zelda 2 as like the worst game.
I love Zelda 2, and you know what? I'm going to take the time to go on my Zelda 2 rant here. Everyone's saying that it's, the black sheep of the franchise and all that stuff. That's revisionist history. I remember when Zelda 2 was new, because I was there, and I gotta tell you, in my neighborhood, we played that more than we played the original Zelda, because the side-scrolling elements were more familiar, for what video games were at the time. It was like more comfortable. And I don't know, I just remember loving that game when it was out. The insane difficulty level didn't stand out because every NES game had an insane difficulty level.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's revisionist history that people act like everyone hated that game since the beginning. And that's just something that happened over time as you got more Zelda games to compare. When there were just two, it was like, okay, this one's like this and this one's like that. And we didn't view that game so harshly back then.
Well, I have no opinion of it, and I keep in mind that, some of these articles, they could be written by people that are like my age or younger perhaps, and like they could have not been around and only played this game on a virtual console or, only played this game years later.
Let's go around and find out what everyone's least favorite Zelda is. That'd be interesting because that wouldn't be mine. My least favorite Zelda for some reason are the Oracle games. They never clicked with me.
I don't have a least favorite one because
okay.
I've liked all the ones that I've played and I haven't played all of them.
Oh, I've played them all. I've liked them all, but I gotta, the ones I liked the least were the Oracle games. They didn't feel, kind of like how people say Breath of the Wild doesn't feel like a Zelda game to them. Something about the Oracle games doesn't feel like and I know they were made by Capcom, so maybe that's it, but, something about them feels a little off.
Yeah, I can't participate because I haven't played. I think I've liked every Zelda game, and I don't want to put Ocarina of Time as my least favorite.
Okay.
I don't want to do that because yeah, chances are there is a Zelda game that's not that I wouldn't like that I will never play or haven't played.
So I'll take the hit, Harrison. So because I haven't played all of them, but of the ones I've played, I would say Ocarina of Time was the weakest.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, if I just throw out the Zelda games that I have played, which are they're all classics, and I've enjoyed them all more than Ocarina of Time recently, which I tried to play in the past year, and I was just kind of and if it comes up on our list sometime, I'll be happy to play it, but
See, Zelda's that franchise, I think I've said this on here before, it's one of the reasons I haven't played so many, I have so many holes in my gaming experiences, because I spent so many times in Final Fantasy's the other franchise where I've spent so much time just playing through the entire series over and over and over again. And I'm I should have spent that time playing some new games.
Is it time for a remake of this game, or is it way past the time?
I think A Link Between Worlds was the best version of that. And I think I definitely would put that in my top 5 Zeldas, which I feel like that gets overlooked. And I'm kind of sad to think about how it'll probably eventually be forgotten, since it's not going to be easy to put those 3DS games on future systems. So, So yeah, that kind of makes me sad, is that's a really good Zelda game, and who knows if they'll ever be able to re-release it.
Yep. Yeah, that's
very true. Do you guys have a favorite boss or item, or because there's really no sense in talking about the story.
I always love the hook shot and the boomerang. Those are always my favorite.
How do you say it? Helmasaur King? The one in chapter 5 or whatever. The one in the dark. I can't think of any names today. But the one with the helmet, and you got to hit him with the hammer.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the Scorpion. I don't know. I don't know the real name of any of them. For someone who's played the game like a million times, I never
like
bothered to learn
it's
any
like
of their names.
Helmassar or something. I think that's the only appearance of that boss. I think.
I'll tell you, my least favorite boss is the Moldorm because I always get knocked down. That's the worm thing where it knocks you down a level and you got to start the whole fight over.
So this run, I only got knocked down once, and I was like amazed.
I really like. I'm looking at the list right now. If people are going to say, "You just said you don't know any of their names." I brought the list up so I could. I really like the Mothula is apparently its name, which is the moth boss.
Yeah.
You light him on fire. It's so cool to light that thing on fire.
Blind, is that the thief leader? That's a really good boss fight.
Yep.
There's really not, I guess just the worm, and I feel like one of the later bosses in the Dark World isn't great.
The eyeballs comes back a few times in the series.
Yeah,
Vitrios. Oh man, I'm just looking. I love lighting that moth on fire.
That's a really, really good fight. So I guess the game didn't register when I beat that because I had beaten that and then I did blind. And then this morning I was playing a little bit and I got the cape and got my sword tempered, which I've never done before. So that was cool. But the 3 was blinking and I'm like, I beat that dungeon and I went back and somehow the boss had respawned. So I killed it again. But that's a really great boss fight. I like the arena. I don't know.
You know what I like about games like this? Oh, go ahead.
I like the knights fight, the first one you do.
That's what they do when you shoot them.
That's a really good one. And then I've never been able to say the sorcerer's name, but the fight with him before you go to the Dark World's good.
Aghanim,
is that how you say it?
I have no idea. That's how I say it.
Okay. But between that and then I think it's got a lot of great enemies. Like, I wish the Cyclops would come back.
You know what I can't say is the guy who gives you the first pendant, the Shashashala, that guy's name.
That guy's name. Nope. Yeah, the Cyclopses need to come back. I'm trying to think what else hasn't really.
There's a model for them in, was it Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time? One of the Nintendo 64, it was Ocarina of Time, has an unused enemy of those eyeball statues.
All right. I don't know, there's a lot of really good enemies, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I didn't really notice the great details in the artwork in the game till I played it this time. I don't know if it's because I'm playing it handheld on the OLED, but it's gorgeous. Just gorgeous looking.
Yeah, it's pixel art. Like, the definition, pixel, that is art. Out of pixels.
This Link, moves my favorite. He puts the sword away and he just kind of struts around.
When you drain the water from that one temple, you get the fish flopping around outside. That's a great visual.
Oh, speaking of bombs and Cyclopses, I didn't notice till this playthrough when they throw the bomb in the water that the fish skeleton jumps out.
Games like this remind me of a time I don't think we can ever go back to. Yep. Because I played games differently when this was in its heyday. I remember having files where I would make it to the Dark World and I would have 3 or 4 different dungeons half finished. You know, I would get stuck, but I already got the dungeon item. So you could, make whatever map. You didn't have to beat the boss. You could make progression on the map because now you've got whatever item that dungeon gives you. And I would have 3 or 4 different dungeons half completed. And now thinking back, I'm like, I couldn't imagine leaving a Zelda dungeon and starting another one. I would never do that today. It's almost like it goes back to like we didn't understand how games worked back then, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll find something that'll help me finish that dungeon. It's like, that's not going to happen. Everything you need is in that dungeon. I've been conditioned now to know that.
Yeah, and it's great, like the conditioning of this game of where like right from the very beginning, it's like here you are, you're Link, and we're not going to tell you. We're going to like give you some guidance, but we're not going to tell you exactly how to get there. And just kind of having that freedom just right in the very beginning. Again, like going back to like, I think this is setting the precedent for lots of other Zelda games, and just that the satisfaction and the exploration that you get from playing them.
Have you all watched the Sequelitis video where he talks about, how good this game is?
No, but I'll have to look it up.
It is one of the funniest internet videos I've ever seen. I watch that thing all the time. One thing you'll have to know before you watch it, Sean, it predates Breath of the Wild. And one thing that's kind of interesting about the video is a lot of the things that he hammers in as this is what a Zelda game should be ended up in Breath of the Wild. It almost makes me wonder if Nintendo saw that video. Not that they, geared the whole game around it, but like, I think they saw this is a popular video. A lot of people agree with him.
Oh, I think Nintendo listens to everything. And I think it's pretty apparent now is that Nintendo is watching a lot of YouTube videos. So,
yeah, cause he'll get taken down this week.
Yeah, and again, like, like we're a positive podcast, but that's something that is really makes me nervous. It really does. So
that's one of the reasons I kept our show logo as vague as it is I was like, I don't want Nintendo taking our podcast down.
Yeah.
Guys, I want that show ended.
Yeah, I haven't seen that video. I learned that this game, it was made on a 8 megabit cart, which was twice the amount as the regular cart for when these games came out. So 8 megabit is 1 megabyte. So it was twice the size of a normal cart. And I think it's funny that like they said like the production team was really excited to have the extra space to like create this world. And it's a different time back then. It's a very innocent time. Like, hey guys, like we got a whole extra 512 kilobytes,
One thing I always think of for that makes me laugh is if you save an image of like the cover art for an NES game, the file of that image of the cover art will be a bigger file than the game was.
Yeah. And now we have developers that have the liberty of going, like it's 90 gigabytes. Whatever. Like it's gonna take up most of their space, but there's no limits now. And like what, Breath of the Wild was like 17 gigabytes?
Yep,
so
17.
This is like exponentially more.
When are we gonna get our first terabyte video game?
It's gonna be one of the I don't know, a game that I don't play.
How big was No Man's Sky? Wasn't that like a ridiculously big game? I'm gonna Google right now, see if I can find the biggest game.
I don't know. The biggest game I've ever had on Switch is about 30 gigabytes, and it's yeah.
Yeah, I think Doom Eternal's the biggest game I've had on my Switch.
Oh, and just fun fact, biggest Super Nintendo game is Tales of Fantasia, which was 48 megabits or 6 megabytes was the biggest cart. So the carts they actually got a lot bigger for Super Nintendo as the time went on, which I never knew.
I'm looking at this now. Some of these file sizes don't seem right.
I think the problem is varies by platform.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because it says here, this isn't the biggest one, but it says that Red Dead Redemption 2 is 150 gigs. That doesn't seem like it's right.
That's a massive game.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about, 150 gigs?
But I don't think that's right because I see people play it on Steam Deck. Which, I mean, you could play a game that big on Steam Deck, but yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
All right, maybe this article's more reliable. Let me scroll down to number 1. And nope, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War 250 gigs. There's no way that's right.
I was right. It's a game that I'm not going to play.
Quantum Break. Don't know what that is. But this also lists Red Dead 2 as 150 gigs. I don't know if you know what they're talking about, write us an email. Because I don't know what the heck they're talking about. That email is nintendotherapypod@gmail.com.
Leave us a comment down below.
Yes.
So, Harrison.
Hit that subscribe button.
Through a Link to the Past all the way before, or is this going to be the first time?
I completed it on Game Boy Advance, but I don't think I ever played it on Super Nintendo. Again, I was like, yeah, I missed it. I was too young, but I remember playing the remake, and I was trying to think of if I had played it on 3DS or like on Virtual Console, but I don't think I ever have until this point. And playing it on my OLED has been great. I mean, again, it's just been just a very enjoyable experience.
Oh, this is what I always ask you guys whenever we do this. Do you use the CRT filter? Because I always use that when I have the option.
Oh, I never think about using that.
No. Yeah, I don't either. I played around with a few of the Game Boy ones they have, but none of them were good enough to stay on. I learned something though when I put those on. I didn't know the Game Boy Pocket had a different display. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So all these years I would see clips of Game Boy games in black and white instead of the green of like the normal Game Boy. And I always thought that was being run through an emulator, but apparently the Game Boy Pocket showed them in black and white instead of green and white or whatever you want to call it. So I learned that.
Well, now I know that.
And now you do too, guys.
Yeah. I never had a Game Boy Pocket. That's why, because it was like, other than that, which it apparently didn't advertise to me very well, it was the same thing as a Game Boy. So I didn't update my Game Boy until Game Boy Color. And I had the clear purple one that everybody had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we know where this is in our rankings, sounds like. I put it at the top. Sean put it at the top. Harrison, you're putting it at number 2.
Number 2.
This is a solid top 3 you got here, Harrison. You got Super Mario Bros. 3, A Link to the Past, and Super Mario World 2. Actually, that's all of our top 3s. They're just in a different order.
Yeah.
which are all like the S tier, the must plays.
Put this in the Gaming Hall of Fame games.
Yeah, like if you have the online service, you haven't played the game, you got to play it at some point.
This game belongs in space.
Yeah. Oh, I also wanted to add that this is the 6th best-selling Zelda game, up to the current point. It's the 6th best-selling, and it's kind of interesting that, like, according to a few sources I checked, it's at 4.6 million overall, including the re-release. Phantom Hourglass is just above that at 4.76, and then Wind Waker is right below at 4.43. So it's interesting if you look at some of these numbers, a lot of them are really, really close together, like into like the tens of thousands pretty much. And then you get to Breath of the Wild and it's like 28 million. It's like so far beyond. But I don't know, a lot of the early games it's like the same.
I was going to say, I had a tweet this week where I said, like, people were speculating what Tears of the Kingdom's going to end up selling. And I was like, even if it sells half of what Breath of the Wild sold, it'll still be the second best-selling Zelda game by a long shot.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised. I mean, the remake for Link's Awakening sold over 6 million copies. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, I
thought that was going to tell them, like, hey, you know, there's still an audience for the top-down Zelda games. Please give us more of these. Like, here's what you could do. How about you make the 3D Zeldas the experimental games where you do all this weird stuff that doesn't feel like a Zelda game, like people say Breath of the Wild is. And then you give us the traditional dungeon crawl with the top-down games. And just keep giving us both. I would like that. Because, I would like to see a top-down game on a console, a home console system, which, you know, those usually were going to the 3DS and the DS and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, this is a remake, and it's in the top 5 best-selling Zelda games ever.
Yeah, that's why I don't count that as like a count. I don't count that I can't talk. I don't count that as a console top-down game because it's a remake.
Sure. Yeah, it's a remake with crazy numbers. That's the only way I interpreted it.
Hey, my copy's in there. I bought it.
Yeah, me too.
I did all the dungeons, the thing where you have to create a dungeon. Did them all. Alrighty. So, sounds like we're running out of steam and we're well over an hour at this point. So, I think it's time to hit the randomizer. What do you think?
Let's do it.
I have lost my sound effect. Here it is.
No.
All right. Okay. So the game we're playing next week finally got one for you, Harrison. We're playing a Sega Genesis game, Earthworm Jim.
Oh. All right.
Earthworm Jimmy Jams. So this is a game I have tried to get into a ton of times, and I always end up, I don't remember where, but I just know in my head I get stuck every time I try to play it pretty early on. So maybe I'll use a YouTube video this time and make it through.
I don't think I've beaten the first level of that game, so we'll see how that goes.
And maybe we'll say let's avoid talking about the creator of Earthworm Jim because he's problematic over the years. But yeah, it's a really cool design, cool idea. It's a shame the Nintendo 64 one didn't work. But that is our show. Sounds like. Anyone else have anything to say before we sign off?
We have set on.
This show just kind of came to a screeching halt all of a sudden. But yeah, good show. A lot of Zelda talk this week. Next week we're going to be talking about Earthworm Jim. I don't think there's going to be a new Earthworm Jim trailer to pair with it like we did this week, so we'll see what we talk about news-wise then. Until then, we are not Nintendo experts. We're just Nintendo fans, so if there's anything we should have been talking about, let us know. Email us, nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. We got a subreddit, Nintendo Therapy. We got a Twitter, Nintendo Therapy. And that is about it. We'll see you next week.
Luigi.